Alright, good evening everyone. Good to see you all again. So I'll just take about 20-30 minutes of your time to talk to you about the next important milestone in your program here as the independent study. Okay. So I'll be quick in this. The key things I want to get across to you are the deadlines and also expectations and so on. Right. Thanks to the people at the Office of Higher Education Commission in Thailand, not only we have to go through coursework, take home units exams, we also have to complete an independent research study between the three. So with that in mind, we've taken the directive from the government and tried to translate that to something that is worthwhile for your time. So this is going to be a very important part of your course, because without this, you cannot proceed to the next step, which is the comprehensive exam. So, with that directive in mind, we thought a little bit about what should we have to do for the 3 credits that need to be part of the course, and we came up with these objectives that we want you to be able to achieve. And that's really to apply what you've learned in classes in a more integrated setting and also more real-world approach. So, think of a problem, a business problem, or an issue you find interesting or you're passionate about, and try to turn that into an independent research where you can find out more information yourself, think about them in the frames of the things you learn in class, and then synthesize all the findings and communicate that to us through a written report and also oral examination. Okay. So we'll be evaluating you based on 2 things. Number 1 is your written formal output. The second one is a presentation you'll be presenting to the supervisor and also the committee members. That means you have a choice of what you can do to deliver that fulfillment. So these are the 4 choices. When you think of these 4 choices, is first part of the issue you're interested in. If the issue is something entrepreneurial, you have say a business idea you're interested in, or a product you want to launch, for example, this will fall to the category business plan. So, the things you learn about business model generation, development, and so on, you'll be able to put all that in practice. If on the other hand, you are not that interested in entrepreneurship, you work for some companies that are undergoing changes due to regulation, changes due to work, so on. You want to analyze them like a consultant and then think about what would be the best way for your company or your business to respond to these changes. You can present that in the strategic plan. For others of you who might want to take a more third-party observer view of the world, then the third one, the 4th one may be more appropriate for you. So you can do a research project. For example, you might be interested in one of the students, your senior last year, did a project on the factors that influence employees' decision to stay with the company. You can go out and then conduct research on that and then present your finding. Okay, but I'm going to come back and talk a little bit about when we say research, what exactly we mean by research. You get the general idea that the first 2, you tend to be either at the center of it as an owner, or you are somewhat interested or related that may take a role of a consultant, trying to analyze the issue from a perspective of say a single company. Third one is more generalized, and the 4th one, case study, you might want to take an outsider view of something that happened to say a business or an industry, and then observe why things happen the way they do, and document them through a case study, like what you learned in several classes that employ case studies and so on. You think about the cases as something like that. So here's some topics or business plans that you use as guidance. I'll show you later where you can find a list of topics to get an idea. Don't worry about getting some new topics that nobody's ever done before, because somebody has opened up a coffee shop already. So you're going to be possibly doing topics that have already appeared in the database. But your business can be of different context. of different strategies. That's fine. That's what we expect to see in your analysis. Example of strategic plans, example of research, research projects. So if you're doing this from the perspective of academic research, one thing that distinguishes academic research from general industry research is that we're not trying to find out about, say, how much this company's stock should be worth. We're not trying to find out, what are the consumers' attitude toward brand X. We want something more general. So, you want to ask something related to, say, marketing topic, instead of asking questions about this particular product, you might want to take the issue a little further and look into the purchase decision of a particular type of product, what consumers value, and so on, and then do something more rigorous. The general idea to think about a research project is that it should be driven by hypothesis. You guys are doing statistics classes earlier, so you'll be learning about how to do statistical hypothesis testing, and that will come in very handy if you decide to do research projects like this. Start off with research questions, generate some test hypotheses, and then conduct the analysis to see if what you hypothesize aligns up with data or not. Yes, Jacob?
For the research project, does it have to be published fast?
No, you don't need to publish this. Okay, so we're not. It's nice if you can publish this to add something to your name at the end, but this is not a requirement. So a good idea, if you're interested in doing research and want to learn more about what research, academic research looks like, our faculty all runs a business journal called Business Review, so you can have a look at some of the research topics that have been published in the past as a general idea. You can also look at more established academic literature to look at how the hypotheses are generated and then how to conduct these tests. But as a guideline, when we talk about research project, we should have some guiding for you. Think of it as a chance for you to put some of the concepts you learn in class to test in the real world data to see how they hold up with reality. Finally, when you write about research project, it's good to keep in mind that why should we be doing research on this topic? What is it? What does the result imply in terms of business practice? And case study. Case study, you can think of that as we learned something from class, these textbooks. If you find something that looks a bit different from what we learned. We've learned about how firms should be managed, but in fact we've seen many other cases how firms are run in different ways. And you find that interesting, then think of it as you're a record keeper. You find something that is worth analyzing. You look at that issue from a third person perspective, and then tell us a story. Try to understand why things occur the way they do, or decisions are made the way they are, and then present us the insight. Here's some examples of case studies, but I think I can share a little bit more about the advices I had in the past. Usually, I'm a big fan of writing case studies because you write business plans and so on. Chances are you end up doing things that other people have done in the past, and then your job will be very routine. So UIS independent study, you can approach it in two ways, okay, and either of them are acceptable for the program. You can approach it in a very structured way, follow routines, and if you do it that way, then chances are you'll be doing business plan. Okay? Because business plan tends to have the most structured, the most structured thinking we learn in many classes. So think about this interesting business idea, and then research all the information that affects your business model, and then come to a conclusion: is it worth doing that business model? And that tends to be about 70 to 80% of the work that your predecessors do. If you're up for the challenge, I think research is also a good thing, a good option for those who like to analyze numbers. You get to put the statistical techniques you learn to use. But if you are into like investigative journalism, say a case study might be a good approach, might be a good option for you. I have students in the past who write case studies on things they like, and he happened to like BNK. So he can write case study on BNK. Sure, why not? So he wrote a case study on the acquisition of BNK by Plan B, and he approached this from a setting of a business that used to be very good. Plan B is really an advertising media company that holds access to people's eyeballs. Right? You have billboards, you have spaces that you can put posters on, and then you sell out that space, you lease out that space to your customers. But now we're changing our behavior, right? We don't look at billboards as much. There's so many more places we can advertise. We're looking for different relationship with our companies. So with that changing landscape, companies like Plan B and VGI now have to rethink about their existence. Is this going to be a sustainable growth plan in the future? So they thought, I want to do something different. I should go back to owning some content now. I used to just own space that people can rent. Now I have to offer more to my customers. I think owning some proprietary content like BNK would be a good deal for me as an advertising company. So he analyzed my student analyzed the acquisition of Plan B from of BNK by perspective of Plan B, and then look at how Plan B can add to the portfolio. That's one way. That's one option. Another person was interested in. He was a stock analyst. He was covering Era1 as a stock. And Era1, if you've been to that, Labasol area, then the Grand Hyatt Era1 is actually owned by the company Era1 in the stock market. But in recent years, they also branched into business hotels as well. Go to other countries, you may have seen Hop In, right, as an alternative for you to go. That's actually owned by Era1 as well. So he was interested in answering the question: is it more profitable to own a 5-star hotel or a 2-star hotel? So he took Era1 as a case study, but really the question he wanted to ask was, when hotels of higher quality, does it always bring in more profit? He used that as a setting to analyze that issue. That was also fun to see. So in short, a case study offers you a big flexibility in terms of what topic you can cover, but it also comes to a trade-off that you're going to be treading water that usually you're going off the beaten track. So you can't just follow guidelines and do it. You're going to have to be a little bit more creative and also a little bit more disciplined in how you approach the issue as well. So I believe you've been given some documents earlier today before you go into class. And those handouts, this information is given to you, and also the guidelines. Now, I think there's a mislabel on at the top. You get this document to it. It's supposed to be more than just this. It's supposed to be. That's all. This is the only thing you've given.
Oh, we have a file.
Oh, you've given one. Great. You've been given a schedule. You've been given this. So this, okay. Even though on top it says template, please don't think of it as a template. Okay, we didn't change the name here. It's our intention of having this. The intention of giving you this document is to give you a flavor, okay, of what potential analysis might you need to conduct in order to do your independent study well. So you don't need to have all these sections. If you don't know where to start, okay, this is a good place to start. Then pick the pieces that you think are relevant to your independent study. But if you already know what you want to do, some of you may already have an idea. I want to do an independent study on my new business idea. Then you can go about creating your business model. And nowadays we have many different tools of how to analyze or present business models. Business model canvas, for example. So you don't need to have every single section that's outlined in the guideline, but they're meant to help you, approach the task. In the end, what we're looking for in this independent study is something that you use your own time to do independent research to the issue that is related to business, hopefully drawing on what you learned in class and you experienced during your time at MBA. All we want, okay, to have from you are something that is worthwhile for you to spend your time on, okay, and also for the committee to listen to learn to you as well, and ultimately for anyone who comes after you and then reads your independent study, they hopefully can learn something that is useful in their business as well. For me, for example, my advice is I like to encourage them to write case studies. I use their case studies in my class as well, so that you can rest assured that if you do this, you can make use of it beyond just accomplishing your degree. On the other hand, if you don't think you are ready for that challenge, you can also follow a structured approach. And if that's the case, then the business plan has the more structure to it. So you can use that as a good starting point for your business ideas. Now, you might be wondering where do I find topics that people have done before. Personally, I think that's not a very good place to go, because when you do start looking at what other people have done, you sometimes subconsciously you start losing a bit of your own initiative, creativity. But in the worst case that you want to have some assurance, see a little bit about what other people have done, then you go to the library website, okay, and then there's this section. Sorry that it's in Thai, and my presentation might be information will change. But the third position in library catalog, that's a place where you go and search for the past independent study. So we've uploaded the independent studies you got that the past into this database. Go and search through this, okay, and get a list of what other people have done. Now, just one limitation we should let you know about is that you won't be able to see the full report. You'll only be able to see the report name and the abstract. And the reason we do this is because sometimes you may be writing this, and this becomes part of your own business plan in the future. We've had people in the past who said they would rather have this information be, proprietary to just them and also the community. So to respect that confidentiality, to respect that risk of privacy, we only put the title and the abstract. If you want to see the whole thing, you can get in touch with the person who writes the report and ask them question. So you see the summary, you see the title, and hopefully the summary will give you a sense of what this report did. And that could be something you should start on. Right. So I think all the steps here are pretty self-explanatory. Okay, the stuff that I want to let you know is be aware of the timelines. One thing to notice here is that you have to propose a submit proposal by October 15. Okay, that's the idea that you have to tell the program that you're on the right track. And after October 15, there's a big gap between October until the day where you submit your paper to your advisor. That's more than half a year. There's no other formal milestones embedded inside that. So, based on past experience, try not to get too comfortable with the long timeline, because chances are you will be well, let's just say what can happen, and it does happen all the time. And what I want to do is to give you a fair bit of warning first, because we have cases in the past where your supervisor, your advisor, does not approve your IS for moral offense. Okay. That can happen. Okay. And usually when that happens, it happens because you've been out of touch with your advisor for so long. the best advice I can give you is that please be aware of your timeline. Try to get in touch with your advisor every now and then, to touch base on where you are and where you're heading. Because you have a lot of time, but time can run out, and then these deadlines, when they're there, they're not flexible. If you don't pass your IS, you cannot take the comprehensive exam. Okay, so you have to follow in this order. We have had cases in the past that people are not able to take their comprehensive exam because they don't successfully defend their IS. That happens. That unfortunate, unfortunate circumstance can happen, and we want you to be, vigilant with this. Another couple of issues, I guess, that you should be especially aware of, because this is the new curriculum. Therefore, the schedules and timelines are also different from the past. Whatever you may have gathered from your seniors, the calendar is a bit different. So the challenges with this calendar is also there. You have to submit paper to your advisor within 1st of April. You have to submit the paper to the MBA office within 20th April. And you know what happens in April in Thailand. You might not be here, and most importantly, your advisor may not be here. So check with your advisor, because you do need your advisor's signature to send your report in. If they're planning in advance, this should be a problem, but at least be aware that a lot of the key important dates happen to be around the days where people might not be present. So please work this out with your advisor in advance, and also please let them know of these deadlines, because these deadlines we know because we are the committee member of the MBA program, but your advisors may not be part of the MBA program. So be aware of this, and also inform your advisor that by these days and dates, things should be done, and I do need to have your signature. The defense, there should be no issue. Okay, your advisor will need to be there during defense, no problem. But before the defense can be scheduled, or before defense can happen for you, you have to submit the papers. At this stage, you do need to have your advisor signatures. So plan well in advance. Another issue, I'm not sure whether this has been raised to you or not already, is regarding your graduation and your convocation. You may have already suspected the schedule is not the same as before. So our exams are in June, our comprehensive exams are in June, and based on this timeline, there's a good chance. Actually, not as a good chance. I don't think you'll be able to go to this commencement ceremony next year. So if you graduate next year, your commencement ceremony will be in year 2021. Now that doesn't mean you don't graduate. Yeah, you will graduate, but that's because there's a little administrative window in which your name has to be submitted to the program in order to the university, so that you can go onto the stage. And based on our calendar here, it's not in time. So what that means is you have your transcript. If you need a transcript to apply for work or apply for education and so on, you have the transcript in I think September. You have your final transcript. So officially you'll be graduated, okay, but you just won't be walking with a gown until October the following year. So I think if it's a chance for you to hold a 1 year reunion for graduation, that would be something you can do as well.
Very good reason to we will be 34.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, we will. 33, yeah. So
So that
funny.
also means, okay, the good news is, well, not so good news, is that if you're going to go on the GBT program, okay, you'll be receiving your degree at the same time as your friends as well.
What is
Because they'll
GBT
be waiting for
program?
you essentially. And also, if you, for some reason, were not able to pass your comprehensive exam the first time round, then your graduation ceremony isn't delayed because it's still going to be next October anyway. So you have one more round in November. Comprehensive exam is in June,
One more round.
and if you don't pass that, the next round is in November. And you have only 2 rounds. And but hopefully by the second time, you pass it, no problem. What else we can tell you? Grading criteria, pass and fail. A lot of people pass, but on
Is so
the
far away right now.
some occasion people don't pass. And here are the reasons why people don't pass.
Oh my God,
The first reason is, well, you don't pass because you're not able to defend the first place. This is very rare, but it does happen. And if this does happen, it means you haven't been in touch with your advisor at all. Okay, so that's an easy fix for that. Don't lose touch with your advisor. Okay, your advisor is not obligated to sign you off to defend if they think what you've done isn't worthy of an MBA degree. Second thing is that when you do defense, you may not pass your oral defense. And sometimes this has happened as well. And the main reason for this happening is that whatever you did in your report, whatever you present, when people ask you about a presentation, it's like you don't know anything at all. Okay. You might be nervous, I don't know. But in the worst case, you might not know what's going on because you might not be the one who did that. Money can buy a lot of things today, so, you see advertising sometimes. Sometimes people advertise in our school. I don't even know, how they dare do that in the first place. They advertise in our billboards. I can do IS for you for free. What the hell? Yeah, in the off chance, okay, that somebody does this, okay, believe me, we know. Okay, we have a way of knowing, and that shows in your oral exam. So what this means is if you've been doing this independent study yourself, then there shouldn't be any problem at all. Okay, passing it. The defense is there to make sure that you really know what you claim to know. Okay. And the questions we ask are meant to help you, to help us make sure that you've thought about this issue well enough. And if not, you have the ability to react and analyze the issue in response. We're not really there to give you a hard time. We're just there to try to find out whether this independent study is really your content or not. So, not to worry, okay, if you've done your prep work. The off chance that you don't pass this, then you need to keep doing this until you pass, until you can take the comprehensive exam and then graduate. Now, some of the questions that have come up in the past is, Ajahn, I've found my advisor. I want to do this, but somehow along the way, okay, I feel like I don't want to do this anymore. For example, I don't want to do this topic anymore. Okay? If you find out you don't want to do this anymore, then you can come and talk to us about motivation issues and so on. But sometimes, okay, you decide you want to do this, but the information required to complete the study, for example, you want to do research, and this research requires you get access to some data. It turns out you're not able to get access to the data at all. Now, don't worry. Okay? If you aren't able to carry out because of reasons like this, then we understand. Go and talk to your advisor. The first step is go and talk to your advisor that here's my challenges. I don't think this, I don't think I can do what I propose to you anymore. Is there a chance I can change the topic? But then your advisor usually can say yes. If you do say yes, you can just file a new paperwork that, I want to change my proposal from that topic to this topic now. No problem at all. Okay. So this is some, at least reassurance for you that sometimes a lot of people will do their independent study and then they find out things don't work out the way they want to, and they think they have to do what they propose. The proposal is just a mechanism for us to make sure that you know what's ahead of you. just one milestone for you to pass. In the end, what we really worry about is your final output. So if you find out that your circumstances change along the way, don't worry, but be proactive. Talk to advisor, talk to us, and then we can arrange for things to be adjusted as required. The only thing we can't adjust is the timing. So once you find out that this is your challenge, come to talk to us as soon as you can. Then we can help you with that. These are the regulations, so I think you already were aware of those. Now, we're talking about many months ahead of us, but suppose you've done your independent study, you've done your written report. The last milestone is to present your findings to a committee. That committee will comprise your advisor and also a couple of other committee members that the MBA program will appoint for you. Now, one of those two committee members will be an MBA program committee member. Okay, so we're here to help you. So I say help, I don't mean that, but at least, okay, sometimes in the past we have challenges that some other faculty members haven't really seen case studies, haven't really seen strategic plans before, so the MBA committee member really there to help shape the mood and tone of the presentation so that smooth things over. And the other committee member usually will be an advisor of your friend. Okay, when they arrange the time slots, they'll be putting us up into blocks of say 5 or 6 students. So if I have 3 advisees, I may be put in with another advisor who has 2 advisees, and they'll be sitting all the way through. So that means 2 of the 3 people on the committee will be an advisor of someone, so they understand. Okay, we're not really there to give you a hard time, so don't worry about this step. Now we say presentation 20 minutes, Q&A 20 minutes, but different advisors have different working styles. Sometimes they may say, you know what, you can just prepare for 15 minutes because I know everything already. Then just check that with your advisor first, okay, what their style is, and then go with that instead. Okay, these just provide us guidelines. Sometimes I've seen some students who are done within like 15, 20 minutes because the presentation is very clear and we're convinced that we know what we're talking about. So no issue, just formality. Sometimes we may spend a little more time because the issue is so interesting, we keep asking you questions because we really want to learn about the issue. Now, don't think about that as a negative sign, right? We ask a lot of questions sometimes because we really curious. The BNK case study took about half an hour because people were just really curious what business model BNK is. They asked out of their sheer curiosity, not because they're trying to put you in a difficult spot. So in the off chance that happens, just go and enjoy. Think of it as a conversation. Okay, so that's a page here that has some templates. Okay, and when I say templates, any templates for the forms that you have to submit. The first thing you have to worry about now is the first form. Okay, this is the proposal form. And this proposal form will contain some structure as to what you need, what information you need to provide. And this is due October 15th, okay, to the program, October 15th. Now, we'll talk a little bit about what the form will require to contain, but if you're on this page, okay, our MBA student page, in addition to the forms that you can download, you can also have a look at the list of your potential advisors. Some classes we have guest lecturers. In as much as you may enjoy having classes with them, you like them a lot, but regulation requires your advisor to be a full-time faculty member here. So please go to this list, a list of faculty lecturer. This list contains the names that you can approach as your advisor. Here's a video clip for a session I held for the MBA program a couple of years ago about how to think about ideas for your independent study. Okay. Back then, the audio recording wasn't very good, so even I can't understand what I'm saying. Just don't worry about what I say. You can browse through the slides I put on there to give you some idea. I think the slides are pretty self-explanatory. In the future, if I have more time, I'll record a new version, but I don't think I'll have to do it in time for your group, so I apologize in advance. Actually, I didn't even realize they recorded this until not so long ago. It's like, why do you have this? Yeah, turns out they recorded one of my sessions. So at least I hope I didn't say something I wasn't supposed to say. Okay, now, I think they drop out some of the issues. All right, no worries. If you go to your proposal template, okay, proposal template is only a front page, okay, of what you have to submit, but it also has some other topics that you should tell, number one, your advisor, and also number two, the program. Those include things like, what's my idea, why do I want to do this, what's the expected benefit, what's the timeline, and so on. Now, we're not that strict, okay, on the structure of the content, but in addition to the cover page, we're also looking for a short proposal for you to submit to the program. And that short proposal is meant to answer 4 questions really we're interested in. Number one, what do you plan to do? Okay. Am I going to do a case study? Am I going to do a business plan? If it's a case study, on what company and so on. Now, what do I plan to do? And number 2, why do you plan on doing this? Why do you find this interesting? Especially if you do a business, if you want to do a case study, why do you pick this company? What can we learn about this company? What can we learn about this issue? Now, when I say case studies, it need not be about a company. It can be an issue too. We also had some students who were interested in the issue of social media marketing. So we did a case study on influencers. Okay. So that wasn't about any particular company, but it's more about the practice of the use of influencers. So you can write a bit about why am I interested in doing this. Okay. So what am I doing? Why am I interested in doing this? Okay. And number 3, okay, how do I plan to do it? So, your proposed structure. I'm going to collect data. If I'm going to do a business plan, I think I need to do a bit of market research. So I'm going to conduct market research based on this question because I want to validate my product with my friends and so on. I want to do a research, say a financial research on, if you're interested in talk about ESG, okay, environmental, social, and governance issue of companies. People talk a lot about ESG, but do companies that have good ESG actually perform better? So I could do a research on the relationship between ESG and firm profitability. So I have to tell a little bit about, okay, I want to do this, I need to get data, where am I getting data from? Okay, so that's the how part that we're looking for. What am I doing? Why am I doing this? How am I going to do it? And then finally, when am I going to do these things? Your expected timeline. Between now and your submission, what do you expect to do? So, for those of you who plan to do that project management, it can be like Gantt chart. Okay, if not, it can just be between now and then you have 6 months. So in these months, what do we plan to do in these months? Okay, something as simple as that. And those are the 4 things we look for. Okay, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? How am I going to go about doing this? And when am I going to do the steps required to complete? So that by the time I have to go to the final deadline, I'll have the completed work. Okay, then it's up to you and your advisor how to work things out in terms of these. Some advisors say, I work in chapters. So first couple of months, write me the first few chapters. So other advisors may say, don't bother with these chapters, first come and tell me what is your draft of the, call it storyboard if you like. What's going to happen in this study? What can I expect to see? And what do you need to do to finish this? So they may want to have this approved up front first, okay, so that we're on the same page, then you go about and do it at your own time. So as I said, each advisor have their own style, so it's best to check in with the advisor, okay, what's the work process that they prefer in your work relationship together. All right, so that's to be done, okay, for October 15th. Now, one more thing. Once you submit your proposal, you submit the proposal to the MBA program, okay, so that we know the reason why you want that proposal is so that number one, we know that you've gotten a start on this, and number two, you also have an advisor who's willing to work with you. Now this part is another place that is motivated by the admin issue. In Thailand, you have to, if you are an advisor, an advisor of these independent studies, they place a limit on how many advisees you can have. The limit is 15. At any given point in time, a professor is only allowed to have 15 advisees. And to keep track of this, the school has a system that keeps track of each professors and their advisees. And when I say advisee, this doesn't mean just the MBA program. Any master program requires independent studies, and they count toward this 15% quota. So, typically this quota, depending on professor, sometimes it goes on a first come first served basis. And once you secure your place with your supervisor, then you need to submit your name into this system, Petra system, to formalize the issue. Once you submit this your topic into this system, then your advisor will be notified of your submission. Then he or she will have to click approve, and then you become his or her advisee officially. Okay. Now this can be done at any time. Once your advisor agree to take you on, you can submit this form anytime if you like. You have two logins as CDS students. You have the Google login, you have the Microsoft login. Hopefully some of you may already have used the Microsoft login to install the Office 365 that university has bought for us. And if you've been using that, then this is the login that you should use for the Petra system, the acc.ac.th. So that's pretty much everything that I prepared to talk to you today. Sorry, it went a little bit longer than expected, but open to Q&A. And if you don't have any questions now, we still have the group together, that CSV group. We can be named anything. This is a group that has you and I. So anything you have questions, you can ask to that group as well. Yes?
Can I ask about length?
The length of the whole report
Yeah.
depends on your advisor. The program actually does not have any requirement.
Ballpark.
We're not talking about 20 pages. We're talking about, have you done enough work to justify that you know what you're doing? Like if you're going to do a business plan, if you submit this business plan to, say, a bank, this will be sufficient. You've done everything that is required in order to come to a final decision on the issue you're trying to do. If it's a case study, sometimes they have case studies that are like 40 and also pages. And that's fine, as long as you research all the issues related to the setting you're trying to present. But then again, right, check with your advisor, like what are the expectations, because we don't actually have any age requirement. We give the autonomy to advisors to decide whether they think this is sufficient, or a master degree in independent study. The more often you can meet your advisor, the better. Or advisors also have different working styles. Some advisors meet you very often. Some advisors may meet you 3-4 times throughout the process. That's it. Again, the program actually has no guideline for this, and that's up to you to get to know your advisor before you decide to finalize the If you still haven't thought about who your advisor should be, you can start writing out emails to see if some professors are willing to discuss with you. But I suggest, when you write emails, sometimes we receive emails saying that, hello, are you still available? It's difficult to actually say yes or no to that email because we actually have no idea what you want to do. So when you write an email, especially to your professors or professors you haven't had contact with before, which you can do, by the way. There's nothing that prevents you from choosing people you haven't seen before. Introduce yourself, introduce your topic, and instead of asking for their hands to become your advisor, you might want to ask for their time and discuss master advice first. And once you have that advice and they like your idea, you can those that you want to meet them instead of trying to communicate through email. Because it's easy for us to say no to emails, but it's more difficult for us to say no when you're in person. Okay, so just get yourself into that phase first, and then try to convince them. Remember the 15% quota? It works on a first come first served basis, and the quota works across every single master program in the university. So in a sense, it's a competition as well for some advisors. So if you already have someone who you think might be popular, you haven't already had a chance to reach out, it's a good time to start thinking about that, because you have about a month and a half right?
Do they all speak English?
Sorry?
The teachers can speak English at all, or
I hope so.
I do hope so.
Just kidding. Okay, so sorry for taking too much time compared to what I expected, but I hope that was